With AFL 26 just 23 days away, I thought it was a good opportunity to just talk about what I want to see in the brand new game. So I'm going to be as quick as I can today and smash out 10 things I want to see. And number one is just please fix some of the big gameplay issues. Now, I'm going to be very specific about this because people probably have an idea of what they do and don't like about the game. And I have two major issues. Number one is kicking and number two is tackling. In AFL 23, it felt like you had no time to get rid of the football. And if you tried to kick the ball, it would take about 2 to 3 business days, you would get tackled, and you were caught holding the ball 9 out of 10 times doing a kick. Unfortunately, the other spectrum of this was that the AI could kick the ball in a heartbeat. You weren't able to tackle them, and even when you did, they would still get a clear kick away a lot of the time. It was probably the most frustrating element of the game for me, was just the difference between the kicking and the tackling, and especially if you managed to fend off the AI, they would still manage to tackle you before you would get a kick away because that's how long it would take for that animation to play out. So my major gripe, please fix the kicking and the tackling so that it makes sense that the players can get rid of it and we can do the same things that the computer can do to us. Number two, the ability to dodge the stand rule. Thanks to Steve Hocking in 2020 for introducing a whole bunch of new rules into the AFL. One of the more frustrating rules, I think, for fans and players is probably the stand rule. But most people don't stand on the mark anymore. You only really see that happening during set shots for goal. A lot of the time, teams will be using that player to move outside the 5-metre mark, give the player, the room to kick the football, as well as, move that player into a bit more of a defensive position rather than just standing on the mark. In AFL Evo 2, as well as AFL 23, you couldn't move off the mark, you were forced to stand, and it's probably not as reflective as to how the sport is played these days. So, if there was a way we can move outside 5 without giving away a 50-metre penalty, that would be great in AFL 26. Number 3, dynamic weather and time. I've bundled these two together because really, you don't need too much going on here. Day games happen during the day, night games happen during night, and twilight games, as long as they move to night after halftime, I really don't need it to be changing through the quarter. It's the same thing with weather. As long as the weather is consistent for most of the quarter, if that's the easiest way to implement this, it would be great. But can you imagine a game where it's nice and dry for the first half and then after halftime, rains for the rest of the match? The changing weather conditions would really play out into how the game unfolds. AFL Live 1 was probably the best game at adjusting to different weather conditions, where players couldn't kick the ball as far, there weren't as many marks, obviously you couldn't bounce the football, and it really changed up how the style of the game was played. So if we had dynamic weather in AFL 26, it would be great. It's going to make it challenging for players and make you adjust to play the conditions, much like you would in the real world. Number 4, give us a little bit more HUD. Now, we don't need to go over the top. Obviously, the broadcasts this year have both had new scoreboards. It'll be interesting to see how that is implemented into AFL 23, if at all. But if we could have the implementation of some post-goal stats as to who the goal kicker was to work out how many goals they have kicked. I know we have the stats during the set shot, but potentially adding in those after the fact would be great. As well as the team lineups before the game. But the number one thing for this is at least tell us who kicked the bloody score. Whether they've kicked a goal or a behind would be unbelievable to actually just see it on the screen. We've had it in every AFL game, just wasn't in AFL 23. It was a bit of a shame because sometimes you couldn't tell if the ball had actually gone through for a goal or not until you saw the animation play out. So if we could just have that pop up on the screen, that would be unbelievably good. Number 5, scenario mode. Now, Big Ants only had this in 2 games as far as I can remember, and it was Cricket 19, as well as in their tiebreak game last year. For those who are unaware, Big Ant did almost a showcase mode similar to how WWE games have done it with their, top superstars in their games, where there was an entire DLC dedicated to Novak Djokovic's career. You could play through pretty much all of his Grand Slam finals, picking up the game at different stages, trying to win the game where he managed to turn it around in real life. So if we were to get somewhat of a scenario mode in AFL 26, maybe we're playing through iconic moments from either last season or this season, I suppose. Now, given the AFL doesn't have the licensing for a lot of past teams because the AFLPA works on current players, it's probably going to be difficult to do it for scenarios in previous seasons. Although you could just use the current team for that. But as the season plays out, if we get the opportunity to replay some of the best comebacks of the year, like the Brisbane Lions against the Dogs on the weekend, that'd be really cool. So if you could give us a scenario mode, or at least an option to make our own, that'd be unbelievable. Now let's talk about career mode. I'd love to see a Brownlow medal count. Now in AFL 23, we did have a Brownlow medal leaderboard, which happened in the postseason rather than before the grand final, which does annoy me a little bit. I think if we are going to be as realistic as we can here, can we please have, the Brownlow, the All-Australian team, the Rising Star, medals take place or be awarded before the grand final in the game. It would just give you a bit more hype into the grand final moment, to be honest, rather than seeing all that stuff happen in the postseason, which, is not really reflective as to how it happens in reality. So this doesn't need to be a full count, but as long as I can work out the 3-2-1 from every game and be able to do my own Brownlow medal count, that'd be unbelievable. In fact, during the first gather round, I actually met someone at a bar who said that he used the 3-2-1 votes in Evo 2 to do his own Brownlow medal count through his online competition with his friends. I know lots of people who do Supercoach have draft nights, but if people are doing AFL Evo comps or AFL 26 comps, and they want to do their own Brownlow night, give them the tools to be able to do that. I think that'd be really cool. Number 7, give us some goals for career mode. I think the whole point of career mode is to have goals and challenges that take place outside of just playing match after match. Whether it's adjusting to long-term injuries, a demanding board message, angry fans, or a player who's just frustrated about their position in the side. I think it should be your job to try and balance all of that and still win games of football. Unfortunately, AFL 23 didn't really have any of that in its management career mode, and that's really why it probably was a bit lackluster, to be fair. It didn't really give you the replayability that you were looking for because you just felt like you were playing match after match without any real incentives to do stuff outside of that realm. So, if we could add in some goals, that'd make the game way cooler. Number 8, career mode cutscenes. Big Ant have yet to bring us the addition of a small background story in an AFL game, or at least cutscenes to enhance your experience, but this could be the first time we actually see it happen. For those who are skeptical of my optimism, Cricket 24's career mode was the first time we really saw a number of cutscenes to build a bit more of a story into your player, and Tiebreak Tennis last year really stepped it up with a cameo from Elliot Loney, who was providing proper voice-acted cutscenes, and your created player was getting feedback from a coach as well. There was also this epic cutscene of your player walking through the locker room filled with some of the best tennis players in the world. Imagine the possibilities for AFL, where you're getting your jumper presented to you by your team captain on draft night or on your first game. Getting feedback from a legendary coach like Lee Matthews or whoever's in the game like Hardwick or Clarkson or Beveridge, whoever your favourite coach is. Or even getting a first-person version of your guy or girl walking up the race to the MCG. It's just these little things that, might only take 10 to 15 seconds for you to actually watch them, but would really enhance your experience from a player point of view. So, Big Ant, I hope you're stepping it up. Number 9, can we spray the players? Now, this one is probably a genuine pipe dream, given the original advertised coach mode has already been turned into management mode as the official messaging, but wouldn't it be good if you could pick like one of 3 options to motivate your players at the quarter breaks during career mode? And if they responded well, maybe they get a little stats buff for the next term. Look, it's very unlikely that this is ever going to be a feature in any of the video games, but a boy can dream, can't he? And number 10, no launch issues. It almost goes without saying, but it would be great if this time around AFL 26 had a really smooth and successful launch. Not only for those who make the games, but for the people who play them. I think many people would have lost a lot of trust in Big Ant after the start of AFL 23. And if they get this right, it's an opportunity to really turn it around and produce something that's hopefully pretty cool. At the point of recording this video, we have seen about 8 seconds of actual footage of the game. So we don't really know anything, and all of this video could be complete nonsense, to be completely fair. But a successful launch could give us the optimism as to what we might see even more in the future. But I'm hoping AFL 26 can be something they can turn around and be like, you know what, that's a pretty cool game. So that's it. Anyway, that is it for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. 10 things I want to see in AFL 26. If I see one person comment that they want an umpire mode in the comments, I will be banning you. Come on, stop requesting this. It's a waste of all of our time. If you want to be a referee, go and play a WWE game, okay? Anyway, AFL 26. It's just 23 days away, and hopefully we will get to see and play the game soon enough. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you next time. Goodbye.